Hey everyone, I'm just doing a quick video to catch up on the YouTube Pagan Challenge. I am like weeks behind, like back to June, so I'm going to try to remember all of the questions and just answer them really quickly. So the first question that I missed was way back in June, before summer solstice, and the question was, do you think that you have a spiritual lifestyle, or how would you describe your spiritual lifestyle? And I think if you're a spiritual person, you can't really divorce your spirituality from your life. That's just the way it is. And it doesn't matter what kind of you describe your spirituality as. I think it just goes hand in hand. And for me, like, I think about it day to day. I do things like I meditate, and I pray, and I do devotions, and also, do card readings and things like even just pulling a card in the morning is part of my spiritual practice. And I don't think that's something that, I really think of as a lifestyle so much. It's just something that's incorporated into my life. The next question was about summer solstice and what it means to you. So for me, summer solstice definitely lines up with the summer solstice here, with the old pagan calendar. Summer is really starting to get going at that time of year. It's a time of celebration. It's a time to celebrate. We're in summer now. The weather is beautiful. It's wonderful. And for me, I see it as really sort of celebrating, the life-giving powers of the sun and the god, and then also the goddess and her fertility. We're starting to see things really grow and bloom, and it's summertime. So it's a really wonderful time of year, and it's a great time for thinking about what wishes have come true for you over the past year and what you kind of want to do for the rest of the year. So it's a good halfway point, that's for sure. The next question was, do you meditate? And the answer to that is yes, which I kind of said before. I do. I meditate every day. It's something I do. I think it's very good psychologically for people. It definitely helps to calm my mind, and I do it every morning to kind of like calm my mind before I go into the day. It's really good for me because I do have anxiety at times, and so meditating really helps that. But also I think it's a great way just to connect with yourself on a spiritual level and connect with your inner self, and knowing there's something bigger than you. And I think meditation gives you that sense of calmness, and it's something you can do sort of, you don't need any special tools to do it. You can just do it no matter where you are, so it's a really great tool to have. The next question I think was about mantras. And I wouldn't say I use mantras so much, but I do use affirmations. I do write affirmations every morning. I pick an affirmation of the week. Right now I'm working with the Alana Fairchild Butterfly Affirmation Oracle for this year, and then I'll post it on my Facebook page. And I think it's just like a nice thing to just kind of remind yourself of and keep yourself really positive about. The next question after that, I believe, was about animal spirits and working with them. And I think I'm going to do a whole separate video on that one because it's such a big subject, and it's something that definitely I don't want to just do a quick answer to. And same with, there was another one where it was asking about your crystal collection. That is a whole separate video that I'm going to have to do. So I'm going to do that one at another time. And then I think it went into Lunasa and asking about what that time of year is like for you. And Lammas or Lunasa, beginning of August. Here is definitely the start of the harvest. It may not be ready to start harvesting grains yet, although depending on the weather, it really depends. But definitely people are starting to see things in their gardens. It's starting, like you're starting to harvest, your tomatoes, maybe your carrots, your lettuce. The flowers are starting to go away a little bit. I mean, there's still some, definitely, but it is definitely a time to start harvesting. And for me, it's a celebration of that, but it's also a time to kind of start thinking about fall. And because it's connected, Lunasa, especially in the Celtic tradition, is connected to Lu's mother and to Lu, sacrificing himself, being, a grain god, to think about maybe what bad habits you might want to let go. What do you need to sacrifice in your life? What can you let go of? Getting rid of things, that kind of stuff. So it's a kind of a cleansing time of year, I see, for myself anyway. And after that, the question was about magical tools. I think that magical tools don't have to be fancy. I mean, if you have fancy tools, like, that's great. And I think that the tool is really you, and you can use anything as a tool. So when I started out with friends, and we used things like a kitchen knife for an athami, and we used, a stick for a wand. We just had like a cup that was like the cup, and we drew a pentacle. And I mean, I've advanced since then for sure. But it doesn't have to be fancy. You know, you can get candles from the dollar store. You know, over the years, you know, people have given me things or I've acquired things, but none of it is really terribly fancy, and I don't think it has to be, because it's about the intent that you put into it. And you know, the magic is really you, and the tool is just that. It's just a tool. The next question was about art, pagan art. There are so many wonderful pagan artists out there. I mean, as a tarot card and oracle card collector, I mean, there's just so many wonderful artists. I mean, Josephine Wall is definitely a favorite of mine as far as artwork goes. Also, Will Worthington is another great one. I'm not sure if he himself is pagan, but I mean, he's made a lot of decks and things. So, you know, I love his art there. Who's one that works with Lucy Cavendish? Well, Jasmine Beckett Griffith is another one I really like. Again, don't know if she's pagan, but her stuff is great. And where is she? There's one, Selena Fenich. Her stuff too is really wonderful. And there's so many I'm probably forgetting right now. They'll be like, oh, this person and that person. But there's so many wonderful pagan artists out there. It's just great to see. And for music, which is this week's question, I wouldn't say I really listen to pagan music. My musical tastes are kind of all over the place. I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of like 80s and early 90s sort of like hard rock, metal, and definitely still have a soft spot for that. And I do listen to a lot of more industrial type music. I mean, I listen to things like Birthday Massacre, which I guess really isn't industrial, but kind of gothy. And then things like Assemblage 23. I listen also to things like Florence and the Machine. You know, there's a lot of great bands out there. So music is a little bit all over the place. As far as like pagan-y though, I don't know if I really listen to anything pagan-y, but I do like Celtic and Norse type music, like the more traditional kind of music. And I also really like listening when I'm meditating to New Age music, like, I can't pronounce it, but is it Aloha? A-E-O-L, Aola or something? Anyways, this is really nice. Sort of new agey background. I like stuff that's kind of for meditating, that there's not really a beat or any voices or anything like that. So I do like that. So anyway, that's my really quick run through of catching up with the YouTube Pagan Challenge. Again, I'm going to do a separate video about animal spirits and a separate video about crystals. But thank you all for listening. Let me know what you think. Like, what do you think about tools? What do you think about any of these questions? I'd love to know. Also, if you can suggest any good pagan music, I would love to know about it, because I'm kind of in this weird spell where I'm like, with music, not sure what I like and don't like, what I want to listen to right now. So I would love to hear suggestions. Anyway, thanks very much. Bye.